And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. I'm Joe DeLeone. With me is my co-host, former teammate, and former roommate, current roommate for some reason, from the University of Rhode Island. Today we are breaking down and previewing FCS football Week 6. 2 big matchups between North Dakota State and North Dakota, and Central Arkansas versus Abilene Christian, as well as our picks for the upcoming week. Before we get to that, though, Sean, can you share with our listeners a quick word from BetOnline?
BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for everything football. Sean Anderson, the world's worst baseball bettor, and your number 5 billion source for anything baseball. But tonight we have football Thursday night. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Joe, let me explain to you briefly why you should put all your money on Tampa Bay tonight and all the listeners. Here's what you need to do. You need to understand that Matt Ryan is getting honored in the Ring of Honor. They have the throwback red helmets. They have a diamond end zone. There's too much pressure for Atlanta to be sick tonight, so Tampa Bay is going to smoke them by 13 points. Spread is 2.5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers underdogs by 2.5. I took them money line at plus 120. Those are your BetOnline odds. They're as good as they're going to get. They have every stat, every matchup, live odds, spreads to bet on during the games. And if you think you know your stuff, get in on their $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prize and a share of $200K. When the game's over, take your winnings because Atlanta sucks. Head over to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, unwind with over 150 slots games. Head to the website today. Get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here.
All right, Sean, let's jump into the first game that we have for this weekend of games for FCS. North Dakota versus North Dakota State. Number 2, the Bison, and North Dakota is number 7 right now. In recent years, this game has been super competitive. It's been super fun to track. Now that North Dakota has been more of an FCS powerhouse compared to in the past. But we're always going to get, first of all, hard-fought, passionate battle for this rivalry within the state. But we are getting 2 teams that are built very similarly. They run the football. They play really good defense. One of the things when I was doing notes for this that stood out to me, both these teams love playing the time of possession battle. I know we're shocked to find that out, that 2 teams that run the ball as much as they do are good at that. But North Dakota State so far this year is 2nd in time of possession in the country, while North Dakota is 3rd. So I'm really curious on how that goes and comes into fruition. Is it North Dakota State or North Dakota that dominates one end or the other, or do we get a 30 down the middle for both teams?
These teams are so dang, pardon my language, similar, Joe. And I know North Dakota State wants their lick back after North Dakota shocked the FCS last year with a blowout win against NDSU. But right now, I think at this point in the season, I've never seen these 2 teams as close to one another in meaningful statistics that since we've been covering the FCS. North Dakota, 10th best scoring offense in the nation, 39 points per game. North Dakota State, 8th best scoring offense in the nation, 39.8 points per game. North Dakota State's defense gives up 20.6 points per game. North Dakota, a little bit more at 26. Simon Ramfo, dual threat quarterback. You know what NDSU has, Joe? Cam Miller, dual threat quarterback. NDSU gives up 1.8 sacks per game. North Dakota, 1.6 sacks per game. North Dakota, 10 sacks on the year. NDSU, 9 sacks on the year. It's going to be an insane game. It's going to be a toss-up. Simon Ramfo's been playing out of his mind. Cam Miller's been playing out of his mind. Maybe it is genuinely whoever holds the ball more in this game ends up with the win. I think it's going to be whoever just gets the ball more. I don't think either of these teams, it's not going to be a big turnover slop fest. I think it's going to be beautiful football between the number 7 and number 2 ranked teams in the FCS right now.
Yeah, I'm always excited when we do get these situations where you do have 2 similar stylistic teams that are, especially when it's downhill. I am, and a big reason why we keep up with FCS football, why we cover FCS football on this show, is that we're fans of old-fashioned football, creative run games that play really technically, fundamentally sound defense and are always going to duke it out on every single snap. it makes this matchup even more exciting that they've kind of come to this point in 2024 where they have so many similarities. North Dakota State played Colorado much closer than North Dakota played Wisconsin, but it does kind of spark some optimism seeing how both those teams played, that they are returning or entering this game rather with a ton of mental toughness. Big thing that comes down to that you alluded to, that 9th rushing offense for North Dakota and then 10th rushing offense, well over 200 yards per team. I think one separation, though, for me, Sean, is the development of Cam Miller, and I think that for me, gives me a lean towards North Dakota State. They have been far more productive throwing the football, not far more, but they've been more productive throwing the football than North Dakota this season, averaging 241 pass yards per game. They're the 29th best passing offense in the country. And we've talked highly of Cam Miller, how it felt like after that Colorado game and some of these other games this year that we've seen from him step up and make plays when he's called upon. When you've played as much football as him and you're as experienced as him, those things are going to happen. You're going to be able to make improvements year over year, and it seems like everything has come full head for Cam Miller. I have to give them the edge in this situation, having the better quarterback, having the more experienced quarterback, and a guy who has just been through so many different adverse situations.
Yeah, Cam Miller's progression as a really dominant FCS quarterback has been fun to track. Simon Ramphos has been, I think, equally as entertaining, seeing as what he's just done from this season when they played Iowa State, which I believe who you were referring to this season.
Oh, Iowa State. I'm
just before
Wisconsin played South Dakota.
Yeah, before they start getting on, because I know the sticklers were going to get stickled. But yes, from that Iowa State game and beyond, North Dakota has been Ramphos has been very impressive. And I know they beat up on Idaho State. I know they beat up on San Diego and Murray State. But they put up 52, 41, and 72. You need a quarterback that can deliver the ball to your star wide receiver, Bo Belquist, who is an FCS star wide receiver. The more I watch him, the more I like him. I'm not calling him Cooper Kupp just because he's kind of a tall receiver.
Yeah,
I'm not
don't even
doing
bring that up.
I'm saying a lot of the stuff that he does immediately after the catch, I like.
Nope. Okay.
His turn up the field ability is something that I am a fan of. He catches the ball very well. Again, not a direct comparison, but we're talking for single-team impact for a number one wide receiver. I can make a parallel of him being the most important offensive player outside of the quarterback for North Dakota.
Just one thing with North Dakota State that did stand out to me that I found a little bit odd in having the stats for the notes for today's show. I found it super odd that they're 110th so far this year in team tackles for loss. That typically means that you're not getting the penetration necessary on a consistent basis, or you're just not finishing when you are getting that penetration. That is the complete opposite of what we're used to seeing with North Dakota State. They're always bigger along the line of scrimmage. They always have the bodies at defensive tackle and defensive end to slip gaps, to make plays behind the line of scrimmage. So that just seems a little odd to me. I don't know if that shows up in this game, but it's just something to kind of pay attention to. If that number changes after week 6, if it improves, it's just so odd seeing that.
I think both defenses show up in this game because from a broader standpoint, North Dakota, if they make this game real competitive and if they pull out a win in this one, how close do we get to that little brother factor becoming more and more erased? Because for a while, it wasn't even close. North Dakota started bridging the gap 2 years ago. Last year, they beat them. This year, massive game. I think everybody shows up. If you're an FCS fan, this is the number one game you're tuning into. You just have to see what these guys are going to do. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to hit the hell out of each other. It's going to be equivalent to what we've seen from the marker game. It's going to look like Northern Iowa playing Northern Iowa. It's just going to be a fantastic thing to see. And maybe it is just sound football and the TFLs don't come. North Dakota State's linebackers could not be flowing as vertically as they are horizontally. I'm just so excited to see if there is somewhat of a change in the power gap between these two programs after this game. I'm genuinely excited for this one.
Yeah, always juiced up for this game. It's going to be fun to track and watch this one. And with a terrible FBS slate, I'm definitely going to try and get eyes on this, assuming it's not buried on ESPN Plus, which tends to happen with a lot of these premier FCS matchups. Let's move on over to number 5, Central Arkansas, traveling to play at number 16, Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian has been a riser over these past few seasons. They started the season pretty strong. They've had a brilliant passing offense. Maverick McIver, one of the best names in college football, has been fantastic, second in the country so far this year in passing yards with 1,600. But he has to step into a battle where he is facing, I would argue, the best player in FCS football, certainly potentially the highest drafted prospect in FCS football, in David Walker, who's just showing up and kicking the shit out of everybody, which is just so fun to watch. Hard-nosed football. It always comes back to that, and we're going to always say that we love the hard-nosed football players. David Walker, certainly a player to watch in this one, though.
Yeah, Walker getting a lot of love on the FCS timelines, not just from us, but everyone else. I saw the Blue Bloods are putting stuff out. Everybody's tweeting about David Walker. He's got 6.5 sacks on the year. And he's a huge part as to why Central Arkansas is number one in team sacks in the nation with 20 so far, 4 per game. It's more than the Atlanta Falcons will have all season. Book it right now. But we're here to talk FCS. Central Arkansas, I mean, David Walker, he's the belle of the ball. But someone I've been just ringing the bell for years, if you've listened to this show consistently, is Derek Powell, their running back. He's currently second in the nation in running yards with 810. Yes, 810. It's unbelievable. He's a stud. He's a star. I'm sure you're sick of hearing me say his name in fat stats. I wouldn't say his name if he didn't have fat stats. I wouldn't. But he does it week in and week out. 200-yard game, 180-yard game, always touchdowns. He has been a fantastic running back for Central Arkansas for the past couple years. I saw Jamie Williams. No, that was Dempster. But Jamie Williams has been a fan of Powell as well. Other FCS ball knowers know how good of a running back that he is. And if I'm Abilene Christian, as good as Will McElwain is at quarterback, Powell is my key focus in this game of how I'm going to stop the titan that Central Arkansas has become this year.
Yeah, Derek Powell needs to be recognized in this matchup because David Walker's not the only premier player in this conversation. Will McElwain had a 64-yard punt last week, in case anybody was wondering. Got to give a little bit of love to him. He was my pick on CFE for small sample Heisman.
It's always interesting to see when casuals stumble across the Central Arkansas field. It's always the same tweet. What the hell is this turf? Even is
so? Not only was the abomination in the clip, but then also it was so fitting for Central Arkansas. It was just the worst field, the ugliest field, and a bomb of a punt on a quick kick has just got me super riled up. One thing with ACU that provides some concern in this game, they're not doing a very good job of getting after the quarterback, and in a situation where when you have that much disparity between your opponent in a particular category, it raises a red flag. So when you are 102nd in team sacks and you're only averaging 1 per game, going up against a team that's just completely wrecking house with 20 so far this season, that is going to create separation. Because if this game is close, if MacGyver has a couple nice long drives and the clock is run down because Central Arkansas and Derek Powell are running the ball super effectively, if the third quarter comes around and then the sacks start piling up, 3, 4, 5, whatever it ends up being, that stuff starts to tick away. Those drives end sooner, and you're dealing with a team that runs the ball well. That's where that separation point is. What does help ACU, though, they are very stout along their offensive line, as they're only allowing 1.4 sacks per game, and they're also only allowing 4.6 tackle for loss per game, which is good for 31st in the country. So, man, this is a real heavyweight battle between the lines of scrimmage, just like we talked about the other game.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the pass rush because Abilene Christian is finding their most success on offense when MacIver is throwing to Blaine Taylor and Nehemiah Martinez the first, who have already on the season combined for 752 yards.
Not the second.
And 7 touchdowns. Is the most baller move that you could have just as a person. Regardless, being able to protect that guy so he can deliver the ball to his stars is important. This game will be won and lost in those trenches. It could be, how did we even have, you'll look at, casuals could look at this game and say, how do we even have ACU ranked? Central Arkansas blew them out. Well, Central Arkansas may have 7 sacks on the day. And if you have 7 sacks, there's no way you lose that game, especially in tight manner. But if ACU stays and holds a strong front against that vicious pass rush and that well-schemed defense, then we could be in for a real barn burner. I'm so hoping that both these quarterbacks can stay upright and we get to see how good they are with both offenses.
My lean right now, Sean, is with Central Arkansas. I think that defenses always travel when you have a pass rush that's that dominant and the best defensive player in the country in David Walker. It is going to show up when you go on the road. This team is kind of structured like Michigan was last year, where they were just beating everybody over the head with a brick by running the football better than everybody else. And then they were also so much more successful than anybody at getting after the quarterback. They're deep. When you have a team that can win the time and possession battle and then also close out like a sparked drive, like if a drive starts to come together for ACU because they're so good at throwing the football, a drive can end like that because, and I try to snap my fingers for anyone who couldn't hear that.
That was a good one.
I realized on audio that that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do. Of course, I try to do that. When you have a successful drive and you're picking up big chunk plays through the air, one singular sack is all you need to completely derail it. The Ole Miss Kentucky game is a perfect example of that. So I have to go with the team with the better defense and the premier star that should be in the Walter Payton conversation, not being Derek Powell. David Walker should be in the Walter Payton conversation.
Buck Buchanan, I believe you're referring to.
No. I'm saying I don't know if that's allowed. I have no idea if that's allowed. I don't know. It actually might only be
literal Sean stinks. I would have a lean on Central Arkansas. I'm an Abilene Christian truther. I feel like I was a little bit early to the party.
It only goes to offensive player. Everybody classifies it as the FCS. The FCS Heisman, so I assume that. Oh, I sound like an idiot.
It's all good.
They should make an exception. Damn it!
If they were to make an exception, I feel like with the season that David Walker is having, you could say he contributes to the offense.
I'm going to send Craig an email after the show. Dear Craig,
here's my petition.
David Walker, Walter Payton? Question mark.
Are we allowed?
And then a bunch of spaces, I'm gonna hit return a bunch of times, and then I'm gonna put PLS. Please, return. Thanks. Talk soon.
Are write-ins allowed on our final award ballots? I don't remember if they are. I know that he sets up.
Should I send an email? Where is David Walker? I don't see David Walker for the offensive award. I need him to be in there for the offensive award. Return. Please. Return. Thanks.
Let's get to FC estimates, man.
You have no final thoughts?
I'm bleeding Central Arkansas. I'm a truther of both teams. They're both fantastic. This will be another great game to watch this upcoming weekend.
All right, time for FC estimates. So, of course, Sean dug himself into an enormous hole because he sucks at this. He's cooking the books, and now we're suddenly both 5 for 10 every single week. Yeah, I'm sure of that.
We were 5 for 10.
I'm totally sure of that.
Idiot.
I don't believe you. Sean cooks the books.
How privileged is that to say, given that I caught you cooking books last year?
I caught them.
I caught you.
What are you talking about? When did I cook
God.
them?
You're missing FC estimates all over the time, all over the place. You got caught.
What are you talking about? That
You
never
are
happened.
outed as a book cooker, and now you're
Did
just
I make
pushing the blame.
Did I make a mathematical mistake?
Multiple. Not only
But
on
it's not
FC estimates,
deliberate.
on bets
It's
also.
deliberate. The bets did not happen.
Oh, yes, they did.
Oh, you're
you
a
go
piece
back
of
and
work.
check the
You're a piece
doc
of
history,
work.
Poppy. You want to keep on yelling like
You're
that.
a piece of work. All right, we're both 5 for 10. I'm still leading his dumbass. 29 of 40, not 29 and 40. 29 of 40. You're 23 of 40. Wofford versus Western Carolina. The hat is on the way, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I received order confirmation. Thank you to Heath, who's sending us a Western Carolina hat that he had, and we can't wait to both wear it. We're gonna share the hat.
It's gonna be a very possibly destructive bit for the show, but we hope that you enjoy it.
I don't think it's gonna be destructive. We're gonna share the hat. We're gonna take turns wearing the hat. Simple as that.
You better not ever give me that hat, because if I like it, you're not getting it back.
It's not gonna fit on your head. Heath said it was.
Screw you! It's not gonna fit on my head.
Heath said that it was too small for his big head. So unless he's like 6'10", we don't know how big Heath is.
You know what? My head isn't even that big. Okay, it's just kind of in the middle between.
My head's not that far.
Mega large and medium. I got a weird shape.
Why do I think he's sending us a kid's hat?
It
gonna
can't
be like a baby's hat?
It can't be a kid's hat, man. It has to be a regular grown-up hat. Kid's hat, it won't fit on my ear. All right, that's the fact of the matter. What do we told? Western Carolina.
I'm going with Western. God, I can't wait to wear that hat during this segment. Western Carolina, FAMU versus Alabama State.
I'm going with FAMU here.
I'm taking FAMU as well. Go Rattlers. Weber State versus Montana.
Montana.
I am not stupid. Give me Montana.
That's a bold statement.
Chat and what? That I'm not stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to pick up on that one quick.
Yeah, that goes
What?
for.
What did you say? I'm not dumb.
I didn't say that you weren't stupid. I said that I'm not stupid. We know that you're stupid. Fuck
I'm
you.
not stupid. Nice.
I'm gonna need to.
I'm not stupid, St. Brown. That's who you are.
Where were we? Chattanooga versus ETSU.
ETSU.
Give me the bus gang. ETSU. North Dakota versus North Dakota State.
Got a retweet from the ETSU head coach.
Oh,
this
look
week.
at you.
North Dakota State over North Dakota.
I'm gonna take North Dakota State as well. Give me the Bison. Villanova versus Stony Brook. This is a terrible pick. What the shit are you doing?
I like that you wrote yours in how Mike Francesa would say it. That's really funny.
I'm gonna take Villanova. Villanova squad is pretty good.
I'm going with. I'm taking a chance here. Upset special. Stony Brook. The Seawolves.
We wonder
over
why I have a
Villanova.
lead. You trying to?
Well, you got to make up a lead somehow.
Stony Brook hasn't had anything. They ain't got.
They got one of the
nothing.
best running
They
backs
got
in the
nothing.
country.
They haven't had anything in a minute.
go
All they
back.
used to do was show up and kick our ass and then leave and
Yeah.
then do nothing. Central Arkansas versus ACU.
I am going with Central Arkansas.
Kark is what I want. Northern Arizona versus Idaho.
Idaho.
Potato thieves for me. Give me Idaho. South Dakota State versus UNI.
South Dakota State.
Should I go UNI just to piss everyone off?
You know, if you do that, then they're sending us to Mercyhurst next year.
Where is Mercyhurst?
I don't know, man.
You know what sounds
I would
like
get the
absolute
Northeast.
hell?
I think it's in the NEC.
You know what sounds like absolute hell is going to St. Thomas, which is in Minnesota.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. Like a tiny little Christian school. There's probably not a liquor store in 100 miles.
Did Kevin do reporting up there? I think he did do some St. Thomas work.
I don't know.
He didn't seem thrilled.
I wouldn't be either. They ain't got nothing going on. They can't win anything. No, I'm gonna take South Dakota State. Do we get any voicemails?
What do you? Let's
It's a
finish
question.
this show.
It's just a
no,
question.
not yet. I'll
God,
play for them after
impatient.
this one.
All right, Illinois State versus
I'm sure.
SIU.
Illinois State.
I think SIU picks himself up off the mat. Give me SIU. You got anything else to say?
Yeah, I guess if you want to leave a voicemail, FCS questions are acceptable. 201-834-4308. We'll be answering them tomorrow at noon, Friday at noon during our hack bag. We'll be live. Tune in. It's always fun. It's the lunch break show. People are mixing it up in the chat. One more time, 201-834-4308. If you don't have the balls to send a voicemail and have your voice on the show, respond to the tweet on Twitter, Hack City Pod. Give it a follow and get interacting with the show. We know you listen. We know you have questions. You don't always have to jump in when we get something wrong. You could just contribute a little bit.
So wait, no voicemails? I forgot what you said.
No voicemails.
At Joe DeLeone, at Hack City Pod, at Sanderson Radio. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, 5-star review. We'll talk to you later. Drive safe. Forgot I used to say that.